You could knock that guy out, then it's a draw.
They also haven't used the rule yet.
So you go knockout for knockout.
Boy, that rule looks like it's written by lawyers, doesn't it? Doesn't that rule look written by lawyers? So find out what's happening, because I think they were going to announce something today about Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis decision.
Of my sport that I've been in for 50 years, I hate what people do to it. I hate it. I don't hide that.
You ain't gonna win. I say, why not? What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I say, oh, is that right?
Can eliminate that man, then it's a draw. They haven't used the rule yet, so you go knockout for knockout boy. The rule appears to have been written by lawyers, doesn't it? Find out what's going on, because I believe they were going to make an announcement today regarding Lamont Roach's, Gervonta Davis's decision in my sport.
Roach, Gervonta Davis decision on the knockdown. It was a very good fight, though. Lamont Roach is very good. I was really impressed, because Tank is really nasty. Tank is so powerful. Yeah. He's so vicious. Like his one punch power at 135 is like nobody else's in the division.
Which I played for 50 years. I don't hide the fact that you won't win. I ask why not what you're talking about, and he seems to be saying that they won't give it to you. Joe Rogan attacked the odd rule that gave a knocked out fighter 2 minutes to recuperate in return for a knockout, resulting in a draw. And he called out potential fight fixing in the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach bout. According to Rogan, the rule appeared to be a legal ploy that might have been rigged. Lamont Roach is a very excellent fighter, but I was extremely surprised by Tank's nasty...
Felt like you won the fight, but when the fight was over, before the judges, before the scorecards came up on in the ring, were you worried at all that maybe you wouldn't get the nod?
Y'all know something funny? When we was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th, we was talking shit, right? But he like, you ain't gonna win. I said, shit, why not? What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I said, oh, is that right? So, that's how boxing work. It's sad to say, that's how boxing work. I'm not like totally upset. I figured with a superstar, you won't get too much on paper. But shit, I damn sure thought I had it. Especially when they announced the score for him. I was like, oh, they gonna give me a split decision win. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh shit, here it go. But as soon as I heard that 114, I was just like, damn, all right, it's over with.
The forceful and devastating one-punch power at 135. No one else in the division is like the Gervonta. Roach, Gervonta Davis's decision on the knockdown was a really nice fight. Lamont versus Davis, when Roach himself alluded to boxing corruption in the 11th or 12th round. Davis told him bluntly,
against Formoso Hernandez, when he lands the punch and turns his back and takes a knee, he gets counted. You think of Miguel Cotto against Antonio Margarito, where it was under duress and he just took that knee. And of course, my compadre right here, Chris Algieri against Ruslan Provodnikov as well. It wasn't a particular shot. You feel something, you feel discomfort, you take a knee. All those times, there's a count, dude. And I'll tell you what, Steve Willis also knew there was a count because he started counting and then stopped.
Yeah, we'll get to it. There's more than one pillar of this defense for Lamont Roach Jr., but the first one's a knockdown, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of experts on the panel today. I'm going to speak from a fighter standpoint, just like you did, Champ. And you can argue whether that right hand landed clean or if it landed hard or how hard those jabs were. It doesn't matter. Champ, when you mentioned when I took that knee against Ruslan Provodnikov, I actually didn't get hit. I was still recovering from the last knockdown where my orbital was damaged. My eye was damaged. My vision was impaired. I gave ground so I would keep my opponent off me, and I still couldn't see. So I took a knee, understanding very well that as soon as I took that knee, I was going to get a count. And I had 8 to 9 seconds to get up, and I had more time to get my vision back, which it did, thank God.
And Mayweather didn't get hit either. He threw the punch.
Yeah, he actually landed left on Hermoso, Hernandez.
So, this is standard procedure here, guys.
Yeah, and we got to see, the question I have to ask, I got to start with Jack Reese. Is there something we are, as fans, aren't seeing about this knockdown that changes it? Because me, as a fan, I saw a knockdown in round number 9. What's your thought?
Well, when I agreed to come on, I'm regulated by an ethics agreement that I signed, so I don't want to come on and criticize or actually defend his actions or anybody's actions. What I would like to do is just lay out what the rules and regulations say, and the court of public opinion, and you guys can make your own decision on what you think happened based upon what the rules and regulations are. And let me just say this. There's a difference between rules and regulations. Regulations are very strict. They're written into statute, into law. That's the operating system. And then the rules are very flexible, and they help you actually do the details that work within that system.
Ain't gonna give it to you, implying that the judges had already determined the result. This gave the impression that the fight was prearranged. When the final scores were revealed, Roach first thought he had won by split decision but was disappointed. His reaction illustrates the harsh truth of predetermined results in the sport. Roach acknowledged that boxing operates this way, especially when competing against a superstar like Davis, felt that you had won the fight. But were you concerned that you would not receive the scorecard presented to the judges before the battle ended? Denny, we were talking in the 12th or 11th round, I believe, and it was funny because he seemed to be saying that you weren't going to win. Underscore, I asked,
the New York State Athletic Commission is reviewing the controversial whatever. They said they blame on the production team. The blame is on the production team. The knee, all that. They say the New York State Athletic Commission says they are reviewing the controversial no knockdown call in the March 1st matchup between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Right? They deem technical issues, right? Involving Gervonta Davis taking a knee in the 9th round, blah, 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 blah. A technical issue. So apparently, they had AOL dial-up at the Barclays Centers.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, this story gets crazier and crazier by the minute. And I remember when it transpired, and we were talking about it.
Yep.
And nobody was bringing up the fact, and I think if we were the only people that actually brought up the fact that they actually reviewed it. They actually reviewed it after the round.
Yeah.
And stated that it wasn't a knockdown.
Yeah.
So it started, and maybe there was some misinformation, but that's what it was said. That's what they were told. That's what the commentators were told. That
why not what you talking about? He seemed to be saying that they wouldn't give it to you. I replied, oh, is that right? So you know that's how boxing work. It's sorry to say that, but I'm not really unhappy. I assumed that with a celebrity, you wouldn't get too much on paper, but underscore, I really believe that I had it, especially when they revealed his score. I thought, oh, they're going to give me a split decision. But when I heard the score 114, I thought, oh, yeah, I said, oh, underscore, here, go.
So breaking news, the New York State Athletic Commission has upheld Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach as a draw. Now, this is what I expected. I mean, commissions very rarely change the results of fights, unless of course someone tests positive for a PED. But in this case, the commission had a very poor explanation. They did admit that referee Steve Willis missed the knockdown of Tank in round 9, but it's the sequence of events after that for me that should have guaranteed the knockdown. As soon as Tank took the knee, the referee started the count, 1, 2, 3, and then as soon as Tank came back, Steve Willis stopped the count. Secondly, when Tank went to his corner, he got his face wiped off by a towel, which is illegal in the middle of a round. I mean, even Canelo said it, that's merit for a disqualification. So I don't know how the commission can admit a knockdown should have been ruled, display a sequence of errors, and then say, oh, well, the referee didn't rule a knockdown in real time, so we'll uphold the result. It seems kind of odd, but I do get it. I mean, there'd have been outrage if the commission overturned the result. But what I want to see now is the WBA Enforcer rematch. Lamont Roach deserves a second opportunity. I'm sure the fans would want to see it as well, and that's the right thing to do for the integrity of the sport.
In his response to the controversy surrounding the fight between Von Davis and Lamont Roach Jr., veteran referee Jack Rice emphasized the flexibility of boxing rules and pointed out that the referee has ultimate authority inside the ring, giving them total control over calls like knockdowns and stoppages. When Carlos Hernandez takes a blow, turns around and takes a knee, he is counted. This reminds me of Miguel Cotto's fight with Antonio Margarita, where he was beneath the others and simply took that knee. Of course, my compadre is right here. There's more than one pillar of this defense for Lamont Roach, Jay.
Everybody saw it. You can't get around what everybody saw. Look, it wasn't a legit knockdown like he hurt Tank. Tank did have some in his eyes, but what are you doing putting in your hair when you have a world title fight? That's crazy.
And no one want to hear about it in the middle of a fight. That no one cares. If a fly by, drop the ball, bro.
Right.
Drop the damn ball. We don't care if a fly flew by your helmet or your eyes.
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about that.
You can't be a championship fighter and taking a knee and putting on those type of performances.
Also, what are they putting in his hair? That when he's sweating is dripping into his eyes. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Bro, shave your head.
Weird, right? Yeah, exactly.
Shave your head. Who cares?
Like, don't be pretty boy. You better go get this fight.
Get those braids out of there. You don't need those.
But the first one is a knockdown. Chris Aldry also faced Roland Provodnikov, but it wasn't a specific shot. You feel something, feel uneasy, and take any shot at any of those times. I'll tell you what, though. Steve Willis also knew there was a count because he began counting and then stopped.
I think we know the answers. I think we know the answers. I think we know the answers, unfortunately.
But we need the rematch, and we'll get it. But I touched on last night during the live stream, it's the great Angelo Dundee with Ali when he couldn't see and he was blinded. He didn't say go out there and call a timeout, take a knee. Go and run, move until you can see. And just to be able to go out there and call a timeout, you know, it's like being in the schoolyard. Oh, do-over. Unbelievable. This has to be addressed. This can't just continue. This referee must be sat down and reprimanded. And hopefully we get some answers and we get the rematch.
We won't. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I am, but I'm ashamed of myself. I am so cynical. But this sport has made me cynical. I'm sorry. I don't see anyone's going to reprimand this referee. What are they going to do? I mean, it happens too often. It's happened too often. I don't know. We need a national commission. That's the only thing I could think of, but we're not getting one right now. But the last thing I want to say to put a bow on this one, Bud, we talked about the controversial part, but I want to finish with the great part. That was high-level boxing. That was two guys at the highest level showing their skills.